Donald Trump and his whirlwind appearance up in Birch Run last night.
Yeah, Trump wants to be the next president. Didn't mince words about jobs, even calling out the Ford Motor Company about its plan to build a plant in Mexico. Joining us now, Tim Kiska, Associate Professor of Journalism at U of M Dearborn, and Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Castañeda-López. Thank you both for joining us today. Tim, we're going to start with you. Last night, our Jonathan Carlson was at the event asking Trump about leading in the polls. So let's listen to what Trump said about that.
Think any of these other candidates can knock you off your perch as the front runner?
I hope not. I mean, I want to run as a Republican. That's what I'm doing. I'm leading in every poll, the local and the national polls, leading and by substantial margins. I hope that I will be the Republican nominee because that's the best way to win.
So, Tim, is he indeed the front runner, or is that political hype?
No, I mean, the polls all seem to say that he's the front runner. Now, whether he's going to be the front runner in 2 weeks from now or 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now is a different question entirely. But, okay, yeah, all right, he's in front right now. But it's also 2/3 of the way through August. We've got a long way to go.
Yeah, we do have a long way to go, but I think a lot of people are amazed that he continues to be the front runner because we've had controversial comments made over the course of the last month or 5 weeks or so, and the polls don't seem to change all that much, Tim. What is he saying that people are loving what they're hearing, I guess?
You know what? Let me sound cynical just for a second. He's entertaining. And I think politics has gotten to the point now where it seems to me that running for president is like running for entertainer-in-chief. That's almost what it's come down to, and he's the most lively, entertaining person on the air. I mean, look at even his B-roll footage that you see, you know, when they run stuff like we're seeing right now. I mean, the guy's engaging, just standing there, waving his arms and doing what he does. What do you expect? You know, so I think people are looking at this, they're entertained, but when they start asking some questions, then we're going to be off to the races.
Councilwoman Castañeda-López, he's been making controversial comments also about illegal immigrants, jobs leaving the country. We'll talk to you about that in a second. First of all, let's listen to what he said about jobs and Ford last night.
Ford, as an example, is building a $2.5 billion automobile plant in Mexico. How does that help us? I went to the Wharton School of Finance. How does it help us? They're spending $2.5 billion to build a car plant in Mexico. Cars and trucks and parts are going to go all over the place, but they're coming into the United States, no tax. How does it help us? Except they'll be closing plants in Michigan and lots of other places.
So, Councilwoman, Trump also said he has got the Latino vote, yet he continues to say things that seem to anger the Latino community in general. What's going on here?
Sure. I think just to comment on his remarks made about Ford, it seems a little bit uninformed. We know that the Big Three have been operating in Mexico really since the 1930s. So this isn't anything new about them moving certain factories and jobs to Mexico or to Canada or other countries, really. And we know that Mexico is one of our biggest trading partners in relation to the automobile industry. So we can't just cut them out. And there's some challenges that he would face to really implement the suggestions that he proposed during his speech in Michigan, as primarily being NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, and I think that's really that's caused the policy that's caused a lot of the problems and the companies moving their factories to other countries, and I think that needs to be the focus of the conversation, not Ford, attacking Ford per se, but talking about some of our foreign policies and free trade policies that really subsidize corporations moving to other countries. In relation to comments made about the Latino vote, I think it's, again, a flawed approach. It's difficult to speak about how a community that represents people from over 23 different countries in a homogenous way. So there's lots of different perspectives. I think there may be some people who are in support of Trump, but there's quite a few people, as we look at recent polls, that show that they're in opposition to Trump, not just because of his stance on immigration, but I think because of some of the blatantly racist comments that he's made and classist comments that he's made about multiple populations.
Tim, let's talk here about the jobs comment in Ford. Has Trump kind of gotten Detroit involved in the 2016 presidential election, talking here about jobs and specifically auto jobs leaving Michigan in the country, do you think?
You know, a little bit, but I mean, here's the problem. I mean, there are a lot of other, you know, as the Councilwoman just mentioned, this gets a little more complicated. I mean, it's not just us versus them. Wait a minute, the Japanese have been building cars in this country for at least, 20 years? Not to mention, by the way, if you ever started really cutting off people from across the world, GM sold 3.5 million cars in China last year. I mean, if you ever started messing with China, I mean, so how is he, when people start asking questions like that, we'll see how long this lasts. I mean, it's a very complicated question, and he just gave an excellent soundbite, but you know, good luck with reality.
Yeah, he says he looks forward to talking about the issues. We'll see.
All right, Tim Kiska from U of M Dearborn, Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Castañeda-López, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, it's bad enough that we're paying more.